G'day team, Matt from Kalula Fitness. Our Exhausted to Energize program. All right, let me give you a bit of a taste of a technique session. So the program runs, we start off with a technique session so I can see how you move and then I can start adjusting and tweaking where you're at to where you need to be. So let's run through a squat. One of the most effective moves you can do, one of the moves you can most easily get injured in, squats and deadlifts. Absolutely, you can do them wrong, hurt your lower back, or you can do them right and get amazing value and benefits out of them. So let's start off with, I'm going to run you through a bunch of technical stuff that we go through, and the more you do with me, the more we get all this stuff squared away. So at the moment, it's just going to be a lot of information, but let's start off. Basic rule of thumb, heels just outside shoulder width when you're setting up for your stance. From that position, your feet are pointed at 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock. Now, as a starting point, we break this move down into 4 basic components. So I'll go side on so you can see what I'm talking about. Number 1, push your bum back. So I want to sink backwards into this move. So I'm putting 80% of my weight on my heels. I'm not tipping over forwards where all the weight's over on my toes. Now when I set that angle, that's important because my body angle set here from shoulder to hip maintains that angle as I sink down, maintains that angle as I come back up, and then I straighten and clench my glutes in at the top. So if I don't have that body angle set correctly at the top, if I tip over too far and then I sink down back here, all of a sudden my knees are way back here over the bridge of my foot. I've got a lot more load through my lower spine and my middle spine, right where I don't want it. I want to keep my main load over the front of my ankles. That's the human body's center of gravity. So I want to keep that weight balanced there. And depending on what I'm lifting and where that weight is, will depend on whether I tip to here, or tip to there. If I've got a big weight on a front squat and I'm holding it here, my body angle is going to be quite vertical as I come down because I'm counterweighted out the front. If I've got a weight on my shoulders, I'm going to tip to here, still to do the same thing. So what is my gauge that I'm looking at when I'm doing that squat? My gauge is my knee to my toes. So wherever I tip my body angle to, when I sink down, my knees should be here, right in line with my toes, thighs parallel to the floor. That's as deep as I want to go for my squat. Now I want you to watch this section here, my middle and lower back. When I hinge, I'm just hinging at my bum. My core is braced, my back and my core and my hips are all locked together. So when I sink down, you can see my lower back and middle back is still straight. If I go lower, you can see my lower back suddenly tucks and arches, my tailbone tucks under, and I start bending my spine. I don't want to get down to that position. I want to stop here. This is as deep as I want to go, so my spine is nice and straight. My core is braced tightly. There's plenty of tension here, so my spine is protected as much as possible with whatever weight I've got on. All right, so that is the basics of our squat. Bum goes back, set your body angle, maintain it as you sink, thighs parallel to the floor, driving through your heels. So all the way through the move, 80% of my weight is on my heels, and at the top, straighten up, legs go straight, glutes clench on, stand up nice and tall. What's that do? That realigns my core and hip connection, because I don't want my lower back to do that when I start my hinge. When I push my bum back, my whole body tips over straight. I'm not sticking my bum out and keeping my chest up and trying to squat with a bent spine. I don't want to do that. I don't want that load and pressure on my lower back. So brace tight, bum back, 80% in your heels. Sink straight down, drive up, straighten up and clench. All right, that's the basics of your squat movement. Add on to that your breathing. Why am I breathing? How do I breathe? All of that is important to making more core tension. If you don't know how to brace your core without crunching down into a flex, where again you're crunching down to bend your spine to brace your abs, you need to be able to brace your core here. So while your posture is straight, this needs to be tight to support your back. And when I'm talking tight, I mean that tight. Brace it. Can you do that? If you don't know how to do that, this is where I teach you how to utilize your breathing to brace all of this. Bringing your transverse abdominal on, not just flexing down through your rectus abdominis down the front. Tight core, supported spine, then you can start lifting some decent weight. All of that timed in with your breathing, your posture, your structure, your position, your alignment, and you wonder why a squat's a hard thing to get right. There is a lot of stuff in getting a squat right. I've gone through 50% of it. There's a bunch more stuff to do as you go. But all of that becomes more muscle memory the more you do it. And I can guarantee you, if you're just practicing in front of a wall, I point over there because there's a wall over there, and you're not looking at mirrors, you don't know what you're looking at, all those little bits and pieces start to fall apart. Are your knees wavering around as you're going through the squat? Or are they tracking straight in line over your thighs, in line with your feet? Or are you trying to squat like that? Or your feet out here and you're squatting like that? There's so many different angles and variations. These knees can go everywhere. I want to be specifically there. Is that the only position? Not at all. You can squat wider and work that, but all your angles and geometry change. So you need to understand that so you can put your knees in the right spot. Otherwise you start doing this with your knee joints, then absolutely you're going to have massive problems with your knees. All right, team, if you'd like to know more about that stuff, it's part of our Exhausted to Energized program where I teach you how. That's how we make a half an hour super effective, is by being able to lift correctly so we can bring the intensity into good structure, good position, good posture. Then we can really start to load that up, isolate and control those muscles that we're aiming for, not just picking up the heaviest thing I can pick up. The 3 things of lifting. What am I lifting? Or what muscle group am I using? What's its range of movement? Can I flex and control it? You need to know how to posture and position your body to make those things happen. Otherwise, you're just using everything and working nothing. Right, team, if you'd like to know more, reach out to me, 54826588, or get me on Facebook. Love to have a chat with you and show you how I can help you. Right, team, take care. Talk soon.